about the people killed in South Australia's Kangaroo Island fire. It's believed the father and son died trying to escape the flames that have scorched the majority of the tourist island's national park. Chloe Boris is on Kangaroo Island to bring us the latest. Chloe, the victims of this fire have been identified.
They have, and police are tonight investigating the deaths of a very well-known South Australian father and son, 78-year-old Dick Lang, a pioneering outback pilot, and his son, 43-year-old Clayton, a leading plastic surgeon in Adelaide. It's understood they've been fighting fires for 2 days and were returning to the family property on Kangaroo Island, but they never made it home. Their bodies were found with a burnt-out car. These bushfires have been just so reckless, and there have been very many near misses. Firefighters braced for horrendous conditions, and they were right. An unstoppable inferno at one stage had all of Kangaroo Island under threat.
We're any threat from wind zero visibility.
As the sun was going down, made it extremely difficult for fire crews. There was absolutely nothing that any of our crews could do.
This morning, a community meeting confirmed the worst.
We have discovered early this morning that as a result of the fire we do have 2 fatalities. They were found on the lake of Highlight, but one of the deceased was in the vehicle and the other was just outside the vehicle.
Obviously our focus at the moment is on informing the next of kin. Our hearts go out to the family of those people who have been affected.
Forensic teams from Adelaide will investigate the deaths. Tourists told it's time to go, ferry to mainland safety.
We cancelled the accommodation for the place and
we were just sitting outside having a dinner and suddenly the ashes from above started coming down.
Some heading to the island to help loved ones.
Some of the family's already gone over, so we're just going to all be together and then we'll all come back together.
And rescue injured wildlife.
This is what we do. We go out and we save as many as we can.
A cruise ship meant to day trip instead stood by to help.
We, however, have offered to provide evacuation assistance if required, and as a result, we were requested to proceed to Venture to be on standby this morning.
The exclusive Southern Ocean Lodge, once host to Oprah Winfrey, has been destroyed. 6 staff sheltered in a bunker. There was little they could do. The operators are already vowing to rebuild. Today brought cooler conditions, but it's not over yet.
Foul behaviour has greatly abated on the island, although the fires continue to burn and are not controlled.
More than 100,000 hectares has been blackened, about a quarter of the island. Locals told to limit drinking water as a treatment plan's been impacted. Power outages are widespread. The islanders are banding together, resilient as ever.
It's tragic, but Kangaroo Island will rebuild and regenerate and get bigger and better.
Chloe Boris.
And New South Wales is contending with a new problem tonight with the state's energy supply under threat. Ali Donaldson is live at New South Wales RFS headquarters. Ali, can you take us through what's happened?
Chris, the emergencies just keep growing. Now a major transmission line in the Snowy Mountains region has been lost in these fires, and that has the potential to cut electricity to thousands of homes. The New South Wales Energy Minister Matt Keane has tweeted, pleading with people to reduce their power use. That means things like turning lights off, do not use the washing machine or dryers, and cut the pool pump. His parliamentary colleague Andrew Constance has been defending his own home all day, and he's summed it up pretty well. He said this is not just like a bushfire, this is like an atomic bomb has gone off. So New South Wales is now facing power cuts after that major transmission line in the Snowy Mountains region was lost today.
It's not great news. Thanks, Ali. Ali Donaldson joining us there live from RFS headquarters. The strong southerly change has now moved through parts of the New South Wales south coast with gusts up to 80 kilometres an hour. Ursula Hager has been in and around Narooma today and joins us live. Ursula, what impact is the southerly change having there?
Well, Chris, would you believe it? But just a few minutes ago, we were hearing thunder and feeling spots of rain in this area. It's now essentially that rain has stopped, but it's ash that's falling on us. Nature is certainly throwing everything at these people today. That southerly that we've seen come up the coast did push the fire closer to the town of Bodalla, but I've just spoken to the fire chief there, and he says it has slackened off a little now, and that means that fire front is still about 5 kilometres away. They're essentially patrolling the streets there now looking for spot fires, but that area, along with this area, have essentially been spared the worst today. There were catastrophic warnings for this area, but at this point we do not believe homes in this area have been lost. But what I can tell you is that the Currawin fire, that's the fire that's at emergency up on the northern end of the south coast, if you will. That Currawin fire, we believe, may have destroyed homes in North Narra and Sussex Inlet. Firefighters at this point say that there have been property damage, but they are not yet sure whether that is homes or otherwise, maybe buildings or sheds. Essentially, this has been just an unbelievable day. We've seen the sky turn orange here in Narooma. People here have been under a huge amount of stress. We've seen hugs, we've seen tears, we've seen fights, and it's not over yet.
Thanks, Ursula. Ursula Hager joining us live from the south coast town of Narooma in New South Wales. It's been an exhausting day for firefighters across that state as they've faced horrific conditions that have pushed at least 13 huge fires to emergency levels, but the Premier is warning the worst is yet to come. Today, the Prime Minister called in the big guns, some to help on the front lines, others with the recovery effort.
The biggest of the fire fronts whipping back up into a rage. In Nowra, the fire jumped the Shoalhaven River. The conditions so intense, any line of defence was practically useless. As the blaze crept closer to homes, towns were cut off one by one as roads were closed. A fire so powerful it created its own weather system. Further south, in the usually idyllic town of Narooma, even the sky was glowing red alert. Residents were getting out.
I'm probably 70% sure that our house will go. By the size of that fire.
Before breakfast, more than 140 blazes were burning across New South Wales. The Currawin fire bearing down on coastal communities like Nowra vividly portrayed the David and Goliath battle many people were facing. The flames even feeding on homes in southwest Sydney as the bush crisis came to the city.
Unless you are prepared to the highest level to defend your home, residents living outside the main areas should leave immediately for their closest evacuation centre.
And they did. The smoke-filled air was now also choked with worry, fear and sadness for what they already knew they'd probably lose.
My husband died 2 years ago, and leaving the house was like saying goodbye to him again.
I'm worried sick. I've got 30 baby calves between the age of 3 months and 6 months. So I brought one calf with me. I'm worried sick about our place.
There was little to take comfort in. On a day like this, emergency crews could not save animals or property left behind.
We make no bones about it. Today is all about saving lives.
By lunchtime, a full-scale army deployment was launched.
The Governor-General signed off on the call-out of the Australian Defence Force Reserve to search and bring every possible capability to bear by deploying army reserve brigades to fire-affected communities across Australia.
Our biggest warship, HMAS Adelaide, this afternoon joined 2 others already deployed, stocked with food, water, fuel, medical and other supplies. 3,000 Army Reserves will be called up. Their mission: help save lives, evacuations, assist isolated communities and help with the recovery effort. These forces are used to going to the humanitarian aid of other countries, most recently the Philippines, Vanuatu and Fiji. But the fact they're now going to help fellow Australians is not lost on them.
It's a very significant task, and it's one which of course we're incredibly proud to be able to respond to.
They'll join thousands of fireys at the battlefront.
We will have in excess of 3,000 personnel on the ground throughout the state. That's the largest number we've ever had.
Standing behind the Premier, a sheepish Emergency Services Minister. David Elliott returned from his European holiday last night, posting, "My absence was inexcusable. I should have put my RFS family first."
I came back to step up, not step down.
Because for everyone else, there's been no other choice. Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
And the Prime Minister is copping fresh criticism over his handling of Australia's bushfire emergency. Earlier today, Scott Morrison published an upbeat political advertisement praising his government's response to the crisis. Posting the video to his Twitter account, Mr Morrison said the government's putting more Defence Force boots on the ground, more planes in the sky, more ships to sea and more trucks to roll in to help firefighting and recovery efforts. The battle to fight the bushfires is being hampered by unprecedented heat. Today, Canberra and parts of Western Sydney have been the hottest places in the world. Joining us now for an update is Kate Freeman. Kate?
Well, Chris, the heat records have been tumbling right across the eastern half